get folks checked in here. So as I call your name, if you could just unmute, let me know if you do have a name on the screen, if that name is correct, and who you're representing here today, whether you're with the applicant owner or a neighboring property owner or someone else. So first off, we have Wes Menzel, who I know from Cincinnati Zoning Division. With us, Wes?
Hi, yes, sorry, I had on mute.
Oh, good. Welcome. I see we have Pam Green.
Hi, yes, my name on the screen is correct, and I am with Easter Seals Redwood.
Great, welcome. And Darren Wilson.
I'm a property owner across the street, 2833 Melrose Avenue.
Great. Darren. And Chris Graham. Mr. Graham, if you could unmute for me.
Sorry, I was double muted. Yes, Chris Graham is correct, with BHDP Architects for the project.
Okay, great, welcome. And Zach Fine.
Yep, Zach Fine, that name is correct on the screen. I'm also an architect with BHDP representing Easter Seals.
Okay, great, welcome. And Donnell Auten.
Yep, my name's correct. I'm with Easter Seals Redwood.
Fantastic. All right. On the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today? Okay, great. Let's get started. I need to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump into it. So this is the May 8th, 2024 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. The case before us today is case number ZH20240045. The purpose of this hearing, the address on that is 2901 Gilbert Avenue. Purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing, unless someone has submitted something in writing prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So for our purposes here today, I'll allow anyone from BHDP or the Easter Seals to tell me about the project. That could be all of you, that could be one of you. It's really up to you how you want to orient the presentation. After the applicant to present their case, I will then hear from the public and give them an opportunity to speak. I'll hear from the zoning plans examiner, Wes Menzel. He would like to provide any testimony in addition to a staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument that was offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. Interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there is some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. Last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if you know that that is you at this time, I would like to go ahead and just collectively swear all of those people in. If you're not sure, I can always swear you in later, but if you know you'd like to provide some statements today, please take yourself off of mute, raise your right hand. I need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. All right. Who's going to be taking the lead here today on telling us about the application?
Sure. I'm Pam Green. I'm the president and CEO of Easter Seals Redwood, and I'll just provide an overview of the project and then rely on my partners to share more about the specifics as those questions are raised. And so Easter Seals Redwood has been in the midst of a very significant renovation of its headquarters in Walnut Hills to double the size of our campus so that we can provide increased job training and workforce development efforts, as well as a safe space for people with developmental disabilities. The project will double the size of our facility, and it We will have the original building that we've had in place in Walnut Hills since 1994. And then there's a new addition that will connect the building to what was formerly the Melrose YMCA. We purchased the building from the YMCA with a commitment to continuing to ensure that it was used for the betterment of the community. And so we've remained committed to that. Gilbert Avenue will continue to be the entrance for all of the individuals that we serve at Easter Seals Redwood, because again, that is a more commercial district. We've been very intentional in our design that the Melrose entrance will be used only by our employees out of respect for that's a residential neighborhood. We're very proud to have been in Walnut Hills since 1994 and want to be a continued part of this neighborhood and the residents. I think about 8% of our employees are Walnut Hills residents. And so this is, it's an important neighborhood to us. And we want to ensure that what we build is something that the Walnut Hills community is proud of.
And to be clear, the addition that you referenced, that's something that's already come through and been approved, correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. All right. Anything else you wanted to say right now, Ms. Green?
Now, happy to address any questions.
All right. Anyone else from the applicant owner team want to talk about the relief today? We're here for some proposed signage.
Yep. So I can take it and kind of cover, specifically what relief we're looking for here today. If you'd like, I could share the document that we submitted.
Sure. Yeah, feel free.
So what we're looking for today specifically is signage. So I'm looking at the site plan here first. This is Gilbert Avenue.
So,
the signage
yeah, we can't see anything on our end.
All right, give me a second.
Okay. Looking at the site plan now.
Perfect. Okay. So what we're looking at is the overall site plan. So you see Gilbert Avenue on the right, Melrose Avenue on the left. The building expansion, as you mentioned, is already approved and is under construction currently to connect the old YMCA to the building on Gilbert. What we're looking for relief today is really just the signage that's going to be located along Gilbert. Specifically, once we kind of get into what we're proposing there is the strict interpretation of what we're doing as a sign itself is kind of what's driving our whole request today. So again, the location here is along Gilbert. You see this blue line, it kind of wraps around as the building steps in and out. So the next sheet just shows the elevation. So really, the existing building now has been kind of a little bit of a rough shape. So as part of the work, we proposed to kind of clad this in a metal panel system. So the upper floor of the building will be clad in this metal panel system that then wraps around to the sides. So this elevation B here, Gilbert Panels East, is the side that faces the street. There's two overturns on both the south and north sides where that metal panel wraps back around the sides. So the metal panels themselves, that construction, those are part of the previous permit and also in the works. What we're looking for specifically today is approval for the color and the pattern that is going to be applied to those metal panels. So what you see here are, again, some colors, really more of an artistic expression in our minds than a sign that is going to be applied to these panels. In addition to that, there is you can kind of see an enlarged view of the panels themselves. So we're looking at, you see here is more of a perforated metal panel. So it's kind of a gesture on the building itself. You can see here a 3D render of how that looks when it will be applied to the building.
Okay, and that's the Gilbert frontage there.
Correct. So this view is on the Gilbert Street, looking to the southwest at the building.
Okay.
And so what the relief we're looking for specifically is the interpretation of this panel system, the graphic applied to the panel system as a sign, and we're asking to kind of reinterpret that, allow this to be approved.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
So we're asking for a relief from the strict interpretation of the signage code that this metal panel system, the graphic applied onto it, is a sign.
Gotcha.
With that, I can stop sharing and pass it to anyone else who'd like to speak.
Is it just the one panel and signage that needs relief today?
Well, on that point, so we do have a subsequent sign that is call it a traditional sign. So it's a letter sign that reads Easter Seals Redwood. That'll be applied on the Gilbert facade as well. That is more of a traditional sign. So we did take care to make sure that that sign meets the size, so all the provisions of the zoning code. So as a standalone sign, a traditional sign, that sign should be approved under the zoning code. But what happens with the interpretation of the murals as a sign, that's what drives the relief. We read the relief for the area, the height, and the location of the sign.
So all of the relief that you're requesting today is related to the to the wraparound graphic.
Correct.
You just were showing. Okay.
The interpretation of that as a sign is then what drives. I believe there's 9 individual points of relief we need, but it's all driven, I think, from that same interpretation.
Got it. Okay. And that Easter Seals, the more traditional sign that you showed there, will that be in a similar location to the first signage?
It'll be on the same facade. And if you give me a second, I'll pull up the other document that shows that sign. See the site plan now. We point out the location of those signs. And the elevations show what that looks like. So with these, as I mentioned, we did take care to make sure that these meet all the provisions of the zoning code in terms of size and location and height.
All right, great. Will any of the proposed signage be internally illuminated or illuminated in any way?
The signs we're looking at here will be illuminated, so the traditional letter signs will be internally illuminated. The murals on the panels we were looking at before do not have any illumination.
All right. Anything else you'd like to tell me?
That is all I have, unless there are any other questions.
I don't think I have any other questions right now. Would anyone else from the applicant owner team like to provide anything before we move to the public? So I think Mr. Wilson, and let me just break for a minute here before Mr. Wilson starts and ask if the individual who joined us late here under Murrow is going to be providing any testimony here today.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi. We're just moving into the public comment portion. And so if you would like to provide any testimony, we'll need you to activate your camera. I'll have to get you sworn in. I'll give you a minute to do that while we hear from Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, what would you like to tell us?
Sure, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've actually submitted my my statement to Mr. Munzel, and I believe he's forwarded on, so I appreciate that. So if it's okay with everybody, I'm just going to make a brief statement based off what I wrote, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Dr. Darren Wilson. I'm a resident at 2833 Melrose Avenue. I've lived here with my family since 2018. And so I'd just like to provide a little bit of input into the zoning variance application ZH20240045. So when Easter Seals Tri-State Gilbert LLC first requested a variance to redevelop the old YMCA across the street from my house, I did not attend the public hearing, and that's a decision that I now regret. Easter Seals did not reach out to the property owners adjacent to the property, or at least myself and my neighbors across the street, to let us know what their plans were or to discuss the potential impact of this almost year-long redevelopment project would have on the quality of life of us residents. As someone who teaches planning and community development, I always teach my students to reach out to residents to discuss the impact of potential plans, to seek feedback, and listen to concerns. I have two small children, and their bedrooms are on the south-facing side of the reconstruction, which due to the construction has disturbed their quality of life. Additionally, the construction has become a disturbance to our household, and in some cases actually costed us money. Our vehicles have been blocked in multiple times by the construction equipment, including on Saturdays, and we've had multiple tires punctured by construction debris, which has cost us money. But to the point of this particular variance at hand, I'm concerned with the number of signage requested by Easter Seals. This property is currently zoned as CCP, which is supposed to be pedestrian focused. I know one of the main goals of the municipal government, the city of Cincinnati, is to make Cincinnati more pedestrian friendly and to create cohesion in the design within each neighborhood's commercial district. However, with the mural and the two additional signs, I do not believe this conforms to the design and planning standards set forth by the city, hence the need for the variance. I'm sure the mural will be nice. I have no doubt whatsoever. It looks beautiful, and I think it'll add to the beautification of Gilbert Avenue. So really, my main concern is the two additional signage, which will create a visual clutter that would not be permissible in other walkable neighborhoods within the city. And I'm going to go off script here real quick and just say, as a business owner who has gone through this process with signage in a walkable community, it's less is more to conform to neighborhood standards. So back on script. So it seems to me the request of the two additional signs, or at least the more traditional signs, particularly the one north facing, is meant for auto-oriented traffic, not pedestrian traffic. So therefore, I'm requesting members or the judge of this zoning hearing to at least change or modify this request to either do the mural or to vote down both the proposed east and north lettering signs. So thank you.
And I went and did it. Sorry, guys. Mr. Wilson, thank you for your time and your testimony here today. I appreciate it. Ms. Morel, are you still with us? And if so, did you want to add anything?
I am. I'm not as versed as my neighbor.
So I'll need you to go ahead and activate your camera for me, please.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And could you raise your right hand? Everyone who testifies needs to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, great. What would you like to tell us?
Like I said, I'm not as versed as my neighbor, but I am concerned about the size of the sign. And I'm concerned that it might set a precedent. We voted in specific things in our council so that we can keep our neighborhood nice, so that people who come in and open businesses adhere to the restrictions that we put in place. I would vote that you guys do that, and I request that the vote to have the signage approved be denied.
Now, when you say Ms. Morel, the restrictions that are you talking about the base zoning code restrictions? You'd like those to be enforced here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I guess more specifically, has the community council that you referenced,
Walnut Hills Area Council.
Walnut Hills Area Council, have they had any meetings about this proposed signage or signage in general?
Well, this is something we voted on a while ago. Just what we wanted for our neighborhood before most of the renovations took place. I've been there for 18 years. And we saw businesses come in who left their signs not very nice looking. And so we put, things in place so that wouldn't happen.
All right. Thank you for your testimony and your time here.
Thank you.
All right. I'll give the applicants and the owners a chance to respond to public comment in a minute, but first I'm going to hear from the zoning division. Wes, anything you wanted to add here?
Good morning. This is a fairly complicated project with the analysis, but I just want to clarify a couple things. I guess that the two proposed lettering signs that are 73 square feet that would be illuminated. Those would be allowed under the zoning code. Then the variance comes into play when they add the second sign, which in this case is proposed with branding, coloring, and theming that's similar to the that's affiliated with the Easter Seals branding. So that's why that proposed design is considered a sign, and so therefore it was reviewed as a sign as far as the size, location, and multiple signs on a facade. So that's kind of where the background on the project. But I just want to clarify that those two things. So
Sure. But Wes, I'm going to just quickly share my screen here. Pull these images back up. So to be clear, this signage is permitted by right, and there's no variance or relief that they're seeking today to allow this.
that's correct. Both
They
the
could build this
northern,
today.
the north facade and the east facade have frontage on a road, and therefore qualify for the wall signage up to, well, it's more than the 73 square feet proposed, but yes, that would be allowed.
Got it. Okay. And this is the signage they're seeking the relief for today. And I believe that one of Mr. Fine's points was that maybe this shouldn't necessarily all be considered signage. I mean, well, let me ask you this: what makes it signage? If this E wasn't there, would it still be signage?
I think the coloring would also be somewhat related to their branding and the curving nature, I believe, but definitely the E and would makes it signage. I can't remember exactly. I haven't looked this in a while, but
I mean, because they are free to sort of design the facades, paint the facades in styles that they like, correct?
yeah, I think the circle dot kind of pattern is also part of their branding. It's throughout the white circles that are yeah. But overall, it was reminiscent and seemed to be part of their branding. I mean, it was not a mural per se, but it's could function somewhat as a mural, but it's too overall substantially related to their branding that we considered it a sign.
Okay. All right. And you did recommend that this application be approved, correct?
We did. I mean, overall, it's not illuminated. It's paint on the facade, as the applicant mentioned. So we didn't feel there was necessarily any adverse impacts on, towards Gilbert and people on that area. I know that the neighbors that were concerned live on Melrose, which is on the other side of the building. So that's another analysis of whether they're impacted or not. But
Sure, maybe they won't be looking at the sign, but being in the neighborhood, I think was Mr. Wilson's. Well, okay. Thanks, Wes. I appreciate your work on the staff report here and your testimony here today. Okay. Would anyone from the applicant or owner side like to respond to any of the comments they've heard?
Yeah, I just want to just share a couple of things. As I mentioned, we've been in the neighborhood since 1994, so I echo our neighbors' concerns about preserving the things that make us want to be a part of Walnut Hills. And we did present the designs to the Walnut Hills Area Council 3 times. And we received the approval from them because we had to get the initial variance to connect the buildings because in the zoning piece. And the feedback that we got from the members of the community at that time was very positive about this mural piece. For some of I think David, you referenced like that burst that they loved the color, the energy, and really starting to bring a more artistic element to Walnut Hills to this end versus what's happening on the south end. So we were very we were proud of we're proud of the design that our friends came up with. We think it adds to the vibrancy of the neighborhood, and I would absolutely want to speak separately to Mr. Wilson about some of the challenges that he's experienced, because I wasn't aware of them. But I would say that this signage is something that we hope we can receive a variance for, because for the very reasons that I've said. I think it very much adds to the vibrancy of the neighborhood, and I'm the mission person here, I have to say. And so to us, it's like a beacon that like this is where you can go. And that's what we hope people feel when they see it.
Okay, so to be clear, Ms. Green, you said that you did review these designs and plans.
I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Excuse me, can you hear me okay now?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm working in some new headphones over here. You said you did present this design and plan and request to the Walnut Hills Area Community Council?
We presented the initial architectural renderings that included this mural to the area council on, following the process, because you present and, then they review and then you come back and you present again. But there was not a signage variance at that point when we presented to them. At that point, we were presenting on the initial variance request, which I believe was around zoning.
Right, to connect to the new building, the addition. But you're saying as a part of that presentation, these renderings with the design were a part of those.
Yes.
And you did hear feedback in directly related to the sign, and it was favorable.
Yes.
And they did do a vote on the original addition. Is that right?
Yes.
After presenting all this to them? Okay. And that was a vote in favor of support.
Yes. I thought you were going to ask me the month and I was going to have to dig through my notes, but yes, it was. And we also presented to the area council and to the business group.
Okay. And the business group,
Was
did
also
they have
in
any?
favor. Now, we had initially, I believe, their initial concerns were related to that initial parking variance. And we discussed that again. Like I said, we made sure in our design work that all of the applicant and individual served traffic would enter through Gilbert, not through Melrose.
All right. Anything else from anyone on the applicant owner team in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
I'd just like to echo Ms. Green's comments about we took great care. One of our success criteria is really to connect to the community of Walnut Hills and to soften the streetscape so that you have a better experience as you're walking down the street. So that was kind of the impetus for the whole mural design. And kind of taking a look at, if you don't mind, I'll share real quick. Let's see. But just seeing what it is now and what we're trying to do to really improve the connection to the street for the pedestrian as well as to the community. So again, the brightness, the energy, the welcoming nature. So I will leave it at that, and thank you.
All right, great. I think we'll leave it there then. I'm going to I think do a site visit, drive by to get a better feel for what driven down the street probably 100 times, but I would like to get more of a pedestrian feel and stop by there. It's really just an outside site visit, so no need to coordinate anything. And just review all the application materials and the testimony here today and the written statement that I've received from Mr. Wilson and Ms. Morrell. And then I will come up with a decision. As soon as I make the decision, I'll have to formalize it. I'll put it in writing. I'll have a written decision, as I mentioned at the beginning, in about 2 weeks. soon as I finish that decision, I'll put it into a PDF and I'll email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. If anyone disagrees with the decision and would like to appeal it, the information about how to appeal will be on the actual decision at the end. But you can also contact our office directly if anyone is interested in the appeal. Let's see. I think that's it. Any questions about the process or anything else today? Okay, great. Well, if you do have any process related questions, I'm happy to answer those. I can't take in any more new evidence or testimony. So to the extent you'd like to provide additional materials or something like that, really the hearing is closed and can't take in any new evidence. So my decision will be based off what I've heard today, what I see on the ground. Okay, I think that's it. Well, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, or if you'd like a status update on the decision itself, feel free to reach out to me and have an answer. Thanks everyone for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day.